I was in my office in my basement, and I had spent a bunch of time trying to push data into the marketing world within financial services. Everybody was on board, everybody loved the solution, but when it came time to deployment, I'm just a data provider. They don't have the time, they don't have the resources. And when you hear some of the biggest banks in Canada tell you, great idea, we just can't do it for a few years, that's really frustrating. So I happened to have a board meeting right after one of these calls. And I got on the call a little bit early with my now co-founder, Morgan Girard. And I was very frustrated. And frustrated in kind of what a great opportunity, just no one can do it right now because there's no resources available. So Morgan said, well, what are you talking about? So I ranted into what my last 6 months had looked like trying to push this into the lending community. And Morgan goes, well, what would the product look like? And I walked him through what I was pitching to the companies that I was talking to. And he said, we should build that. I've got half of that built, in fact, right now. We just need a little extra work. So interesting timing, because the board that I was on, we were out trying to find financing for another company we were working on. And Morgan happened to say, hey, I've got Eli, a lender that I'm working with, coming into the office next week. Why don't you put together a few pages, few slides on the opportunity, and we'll pitch him, see what he says. And I was like, what? Why? I'm pitching a product we don't even have that I've been kind of thinking about. So sure enough, this is before anything was named. I came up with the concept. I put together the opportunity, how many real estate agents there were, how many mortgage brokers, and the challenges that they were having. And I put together a 6-page deck. We didn't get past the second slide, and he said, I'm in. And that's what began the journey that is BrokerBot. When I first launched BrokerBot, we had brands in mind. We wanted to create an engagement platform that wasn't a marketplace like you would see with a Credit Karma or Borrowell and how they use credit score. We wanted to take that engagement, that addictive data point, and attach brands to it. Whether it was a bank, whether it was a broker, whether it was an insurance company, everybody needs to be doing this better. But when you sat back and looked at who our target audience was, we can help brokers a hell of a lot more than we can the banks that have these hundreds of millions of dollars in budgets to build these solutions by themselves, buy other companies that are doing what we're doing. I mean, you couldn't watch the Jays game without seeing a bank talk about their mortgage rates. The brokers don't have that same opportunity. So for me, that is where I thought we could position ourselves. BrokerBot's been around for about a year and a half. We've been making enhancements, but the original customers of BrokerBot, they've been live on our site for about a year. The original business plan was to go out and sell as a subscription model our solution. So you would add your book, it would be based on the number of addresses in there, and then we would bring in different data elements to help lead generation, lead conversion, customer cross-sell, and customer retention. But now we're getting into a point where the economy is going to affect the way that even these brokers do business. So what was originally a business plan of going into the market with a subscription model and focusing on maybe those brokers that were willing to subscribe into those things, the approach we're starting to take is, what are other packages that we can put in place for the small, medium, large books? Because frankly, whether you have 50 customers or you have 15,000 customers, how do you be authentic with every single one of them? You can't. People will say they can. Are you picking up the phone 1,500 times a day? You're probably not. This is about engagement. Engagement isn't static every day, which is no doubt why we see over 90% open rates and over 50% click-through rates. That's going to keep you growing organically. The problem that I see from the outside in is that in too many cases, what's been used in the past is cookie cutter. It's vanilla. Brokers can't solve this on their own because they don't have access to the tools. They don't have access to the data. They don't have access to the data with the proper licensing. Even if you're a new broker and you're getting involved in a bigger brand, you're leveraging what the bigger brand has been doing forever. They became successful at that 15, 20 years ago. You're new. What are you going to do that's different? So when I look at what brokers are doing in the market today, they're not doing enough. They're doing too much of what everybody else is doing, and they're not separating themselves from their competition, from the other agents in their office to win those deals, bring value add to the homeowner at always keeping the homeowner top of mind.